Did you know that your resume only gets about a 7 to 10-second glance from a recruiter after you submit it for an application? And that's if you get seen at all, because you have to make it through the gauntlet of AI filtering as you apply for these positions. Let's face it, writing a resume for the first time, or if you haven't updated yours in quite a while, can seem pretty daunting and overwhelming considering number one, the stakes, but that there's so much competing information out there. How many pages should it be? What kind of templates should you use? But as a corporate recruiter and a professional resume writer who's looked at tens of thousands of applications in my career, I'm going to simplify things for you. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly how to write a resume from a recruiter's perspective. Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Brian. I'm the founder of A Life After Layoff, a career strategist, a corporate recruiter, and a professional resume writer. And I've actually written the book on how to create a resume from a recruiter's perspective in the course called Resume Rocketfuel. So if you're interested in learning how to improve your job search from somebody who actually hired people, make sure you follow along. All right, so let's get to the task at hand, which is writing a resume from a recruiter's perspective. And I want to preface it by stating we have to understand who our target audience is, who is going to be viewing the resume that we're going to be submitting. It's going to be the recruiter first and foremost. But then we also have to consider the hiring manager and then people further down the interviewing chain. And honestly, that's why most resumes fail. When I'm doing resume reviews, I'm always looking at it from the lens of, if I'm a recruiter for this role, how do I want the resume to look? There is a very specific process that we use to parse resumes. And so as we're building out a resume, I'm going to keep that process in mind. Now, as we get started, we don't need any kind of crazy templates or anything like that, just something very basic and simple. I'm looking for one column. I'm not looking for anything with crazy colors, charts, graphics, anything that's going to compete with the task at hand, which is to convince them that we have the right stuff on our resume to get that first round screen. So I'd recommend just head over to your favorite word processing software, look through the resume templates and just find something simple. Now, in my case, I'm going to be using the software Soor to build my resume, but you can use any word processing software that you might already have. Find a simple template, or you can just start with a blank document and I'll walk you through what to do. All right, so hopefully you have your document loaded up. Here I am in Soor, and I'm going to add my contact information at the top. Obviously, we want recruiters to be able to reach us. So we want to make sure that we have at least our full name, our location, and this is important. Even if you're remote, recruiters still want to see what area you live in, time zone issues and all that kind of stuff. So I want to add a location, phone number. You'd be surprised at the number of people who don't include ways for us to contact them, but phone number, email address. I would recommend that you add a LinkedIn profile if you have one. And if you wanted to add an additional link, maybe a portfolio link, this is where you'd want to put it. I like to put mine vertically because the ATS system, or the applicant tracking system, tends to parse those more cleanly. It's more of a quality of life hack. It's not really a deal breaker, but if you have it horizontally, oftentimes you find yourself having to do a lot of manual data input when you're applying jobs. I like to make things as easy as possible, so I just like to add it right here vertically. Next section I typically add is the career profile. And the reason why I add the career profile is that I want the very first thing that the recruiter to see as they start to scan deeper into my resume is a very clear fit for the role without making them have to work too hard. So I want to call out that I've got the right scope of experience, the right titling, and potentially even the right industries. However, I want to point out something. I don't summarize my career here. And the reason why I don't summarize my career here is because I've got an entire resume to tell the recruiting teams what I've done in my career. There's no point in wasting additional space basically being redundant. So I'm going to keep it very targeted. As I write this career profile, I want to focus on being very concise. I don't want a huge block of text here. And so in my case, I'm going to say, just suppose I'm applying for a technical recruiting role. And my experience level, let's say I'm accomplished, and I'm going to add a few core responsibilities that I have, and then a few relevant industries that I've done them in. Now, the second section in the career profile is going to be a list of the competencies that are related to the job family that I'm applying to. So in my case, I'm going to add a few of the relevant competencies that I've already identified that I possess. Now, the next section will change depending on if you're entry level or if you're somebody that has more experience. If you're entry level, I would start with education first, because that's going to probably be the most relevant experience that you have. If you're somebody that's got more than a couple of years of work experience, then I would start with your experience section first, then the education below it. So in my case, I've already got these preloaded, but I'm just going to add a few of the experiences that I've worked in my career that I want to have show up on my resume. Next, let's enrich our experience by adding some bullet points. Now, hopefully the bullet point that we're adding is going to be directly related to the job family that I'm applying to. I also want to make sure that my bullet points convey impact. That's going to be the biggest thing. So I'm going to convey what I did, how I did it, and then what the impact of it was. So in this case, we're going to add something to the Corn Ferry role. So my basic bullet point might say I partnered with 20 plus hiring managers to conduct intake calls, build job requirements, and establish hiring processes. That's actually not that strong of a bullet point. It's not really showing impact. It's not really elaborating on what it is that I did. I think I can do a little bit better. So let's try to enrich this particular bullet point. Now, again, I need to show impact. So I want to know, how did I actually drive this beyond conducting these calls and building requirements? What was your specific approach or decision that made these partnerships effective? Did you design frameworks, lead the discovery, synthesize insights, or propose new process structure? So for the sake of this example, I'm just going to grab a couple of these and cut and paste them in. Then, of course, I need to show the impact, what changed as a result of my work with these hiring measures. Was there a concrete result or impact? For example, did hiring timelines improve? Did quality of placement increase? Did hiring managers adopt a standardized process? Did you reduce time to hire or improve candidate quality? So let's just say that hiring timelines improved by, let's just say, 3 weeks. Now, in my case, I've got a few different choices that I can work with, and I'm going to select this top one that says designed a hiring intake framework and led discovery calls with 20 plus hiring managers. So that's what I did. Then synthesizing insights by building standardized job requirements and processes. That's how I did it. That reduced time to hire by 3 weeks. And that was the impact or the result. Now I've got 2 bullet points for this particular experience. I want to shoot for between 5, maybe 7 different bullet points that convey a fit for the role that I'm applying to, so that I can get past both the ATS screen, but also the recruiter can see what it is that they're looking for. So personally, I've already done a bunch of these, so I'm just going to go ahead and add these all in. And you can see that the resume is starting to take shape. And then as you populate the rest of your experience bullet points, the next thing that we want to do is build out our education. So again, it's going to be career profile, experience, then education. Now in this case, I'm going to pull in my bachelor's degree. I'm going to focus on the biggest piece of education first. If I have multiple bachelor's degrees, I would typically focus on the bachelor's degree that's most relevant for the job that I'm applying to. We don't need to add a lot of information here. The main thing is we want to know where we went to school, what the location was, what the degree type was, and then what the actual degree itself was. We don't need to add dates, especially if adding those dates is going to age you. You also don't need to add a GPA unless I would say you're entry level, in which case a recruiting team is going to expect to see that you've got a GPA listed on your resume. Same thing goes for certifications. If you have them, you would want to put those below the education. So in this case, and I would want to put the end date for the certification. So this one, I would want to include a date for. Then if you have a project that you've worked on, I'd want to include the project name, a URL if you have a link to the project results, and then you can add a basic description. I would not add a ton of information here. Keep it short, just like a bullet point. But for those of you who are entry level, or if you're switching career types, this is a great way to get some of those keywords onto your resume in a demonstrated fashion. So put it into the project section. And finally, we want to add skills, and skills are going to be a little different than those competencies. Skills typically would be more of the software or specific methodologies that you have experience in. Again, try to keep them related to the job that you're applying to. So in this case, I've already preloaded a bunch into my profile, but for you, take a look at what you actually have versus some of the job postings that you've applied to, and then try to get as many relevant skills as you can. This is going to be important for when the applicant tracking system, the AI sorting, is going to be parsing and scanning through your resume. These are some of the things that they're going to be pulling. So if you're trying to get past that applicant tracking system scan, you want to make sure that you add in the skills that they're actually asking for on the job posting. And that's basically it. If you've got other awards or publications that you'd like to add, you can add them below the education and certifications area, but you want to try to be as concise as you can. I would generally stick to no more than 2 pages. Now, it doesn't mean you can't go beyond 2 pages, but what I have found is resumes that do go beyond 2 pages tend to be pretty wordy, lengthy, unnecessary. Again, the singular focus is to get that first round screen from the recruiter. So we want to be very targeted with the information that we put on our resumes. And that's why customizing your resume is so very important. You might have all this wonderful experience and all these different bullet points that you've done, but your resume doesn't need to pull all of that in for every single application. So I would get in the habit of looking at what the job posting is asking for and only delivering what it is that they require. Keep the other stuff handy, but don't necessarily use it. Now, in Soar, we actually do this for you. When you apply to jobs, we assess the roles and then we look for what information is required. And then we ask you to basically confirm that you have the experience they're asking for. And then we help you build targeted resumes quickly. But in general, this is a habit that you want to do very consistently. This is the single biggest thing that you can do to improve your chances of getting that first round callback. Again, you have to get through the AI screen, you have to get through the recruiter screen or the recruiter scan, then the recruiter screen, so the first round interview, then the hiring manager screen, then you have to get into the panel interview, then you have to go through potentially a checkoff interview. There's a lot of steps involved and the resume is the gateway into it. So keep things as concise as you can and targeted to the job that you're applying for. And when you're ready to export, I would recommend that you download it as a PDF to preserve your formatting. You can also download as a docx. It just may get a little bit wanky whenever you upload it to different ATS systems. That's typically where I see when things get a little haywire. So again, we have a very clean, concise resume that is going to convey our fit very quickly. We've got no crazy graphics, no crazy colors, etc. Everything is nice and clean, to the point, and is able to be scanned very quickly for the recruiter. Now, I'm not going to pretend that one short video replaces the full process. There's a lot of steps involved and there's a lot of what ifs. This is going to give you a good starting point. It should break down the basic structure of what your resume should look like and how you should approach it. And honestly, you're going to be ahead of a lot of people if you just follow what's covered in this video. But if you're looking for a much more robust and detailed walkthrough of how to build a resume from scratch, including some of those pain points that you might need to address, like career gaps, reverse mobility, maybe some career changes, check out Resume Rocketfuel because I break it down in great detail and provide a lot of strategy on how to get your resume seen by the right people at the right time. Additionally, you've seen a small sliver of what Soor looks like on the back end, but that's the done for you component of Resume Rocketfuel. So again, Resume Rocketfuel is the theory, Soor is the done for you component of it. So if you'd like to get started with either one of those, I'll leave a link in the video description below. Listen, I know a lot of people have been asking me about how to write a resume and giving a demonstration. So hopefully this gives you a great starting point. Just buckle down, spend the time doing it, and most importantly, customize for the roles that you're applying to. If you do that, you should increase your chances of getting that first round screen and hopefully getting yourself into the interview process and then ultimately to the offer. Anyway, I hope you found this video to be helpful. Appreciate you watching. See you on the next one.